According to a 2025 survey by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, an astonishing 36% of households earning over $200,000 a year currently identify as living paycheck to paycheck. Read that again. Over a third of top earners in America are one medical emergency or one missed payroll away from financial disaster. We are conditioned to believe a six-figure salary is the finish line. We think earning $250,000 a year guarantees a life of financial peace, fully funded 401k accounts, and quiet luxury. But the math tells a very different story. The goalpost for financial freedom has moved. It has not just moved a few feet. It has been picked up and relocated to an entirely different stadium. Most Americans spend their 20s and 30s grinding for the promotion that pushes them into the upper tax brackets. They get the title. They get the salary bump. They finally hit that magic $150,000 or $200,000 number. Then they wake up 5 years later with a negative net worth. They have 2 car loans, a massive mortgage, and a crushing sense of anxiety. On paper, they are wealthy. In reality, they cannot come up with $10,000 without selling something or going into debt. This is the high-income poverty trap. It is a specific type of financial quicksand designed to capture the smartest, hardest-working people in the country. It happens because our culture heavily equates income with wealth. Income is just the money flowing into your bank account. Wealth is the money that stays there. Wealth is the time you control. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how high earners sabotage their own financial freedom. We are going to look at the invisible forces draining massive salaries. By the end, you will understand that earning more money rarely solves your money problems. It usually just makes them much more expensive. Force 1, the neighborhood tax. When your income goes up, you naturally want a safer neighborhood with better amenities. You look at highly rated suburbs in Atlanta or Dallas. You buy the $850,000 house instead of the $450,000 house, but the house is just the entry fee. The neighborhood tax is everything else. It is the expectation that your lawn looks perfectly manicured by a professional landscaping crew. It is the soaring HOA fees. It is the property taxes reassessed every single year by the county. You are not just buying a shelter. You are buying a baseline standard of living dictated by your zip code. If everyone on your street drives a late-model SUV and renovates their kitchen every 5 years, your 10-year-old Honda starts to feel inadequate. You absorb the spending habits of your neighbors through sheer osmosis. The environment forces your baseline expenses up. Force 2, the luxury car lease illusion. High earners love leasing. Dealerships know exactly how to pitch this concept. They tell you it makes total sense to drive a highly reliable, safe car to your important job. They sell you on the monthly payment instead of the total cost, so you sign a lease for a $75,000 vehicle. You pay $900 a month. 3 years later, you give the car back and have absolutely nothing to show for it. Let us run the math on this. If you took that $900 monthly payment and invested it in an S&P 500 index fund returning 8% annually, over 25 years it becomes approximately $790,000. You are trading nearly $750,000 in future wealth for the privilege of driving a new premium car every 36 months. The math is brutal. High-income earners fall for it because they focus entirely on cash flow instead of opportunity cost. Force 3, the premium convenience trap. When you work 50 or 60 hours a week, you have zero energy left. You start buying time. This sounds very smart in theory. You order premium food delivery 3 nights a week. You hire house cleaners. You use expensive grocery delivery services. You pay for the fastest internet, the premium streaming tiers without ads, the exclusive personal trainer. Individually, these purchases feel like minor, well-deserved rewards for your hard work. Collectively, they form a massive leak in your financial boat. A $250,000 household income disappears shockingly fast when $3,000 a month is leaking out through pure convenience spending. You are essentially working grueling hours to afford the services you need because you are working grueling hours. It is a perfect closed-loop trap. Force 4, elite education escalation. Middle-class families send their kids to the local public school and hope for the best. High-income families panic about their children falling behind in a hyper-competitive world. They move to the most expensive school districts simply for the test scores. When that feels insufficient, they pivot to private schools. In cities like Chicago or Seattle, private school tuition can easily hit $30,000 a year per child. If you have 2 kids, that is $60,000 in after-tax money. You have to earn nearly $100,000 pre-tax just to pay the tuition bill. Then comes college. You earn too much to qualify for meaningful financial aid. You have to foot the entire bill for out-of-state tuition or a prestigious private university. This is exactly how successful doctors and corporate directors end up taking out massive Parent Plus loans in their 50s. Force 5 lifestyle creep, masking as inflation. Everyone complains about inflation. High earners routinely use inflation as a convenient excuse for their own lifestyle inflation. Yes, the cost of groceries and housing has gone up, but your spending has expanded in ways that have absolutely nothing to do with the Consumer Price Index. 5 years ago, a family vacation was a road trip to a beach in Florida. Today, it is a $14,000 guided excursion to a resort in Hawaii. 5 years ago, you bought clothes at mid-tier department stores. Now you only buy premium direct-to-consumer brands. You justify this by saying you have earned it. You tell yourself you are just keeping up with the rising cost of living. You are actually keeping up with a newly manufactured standard of living. 4.6. Tax inefficiency and complacency. When you make $60,000 a year, your tax situation is relatively simple. When you make $250,000 as a W-2 employee, you become the most heavily taxed demographic in the United States. The IRS takes a massive bite out of every paycheck. But high earners often fail to optimize their situation. They max out their traditional 401k and think their job is entirely done. They do not explore backdoor Roth IRAs. They ignore the triple tax advantage of health savings accounts. They hold tax-inefficient mutual funds in taxable brokerage accounts, generating unnecessary capital gains every December. A high-income W-2 employee without a tax strategy is just working a part-time job for the federal government. You are losing thousands of dollars a year purely through apathy. Force 7. The golden handcuffs of specialized debt. This applies heavily to professionals with advanced degrees. Dentists, pharmacists, attorneys, and specialized medical practitioners. You graduate with $300,000 in student loans. You immediately secure a high-paying job. But the debt load is so large it feels abstract, like funny money. Instead of living like a broke student for 3 more years to crush the debt, you immediately buy the house and the car. You finance a lifestyle that matches your prestigious new title. Now your minimum loan payments are $2,800 a month. Your mortgage is $4,500. You are making phenomenal money, but your fixed costs consume 70% of your take-home pay. You cannot quit. You cannot take a lower-paying job you actually enjoy. The handcuffs are made of gold, but they still lock you in place. Force 8. The illusion of permanent peak earning. The most dangerous lie high earners tell themselves is that the money will never stop flowing. You make $200,000 this year. You automatically assume you will make $220,000 next year and $250,000 the year after that. You base your entire fixed cost structure on this aggressive, uninterrupted upward trajectory. But corporate America does not work that way. Massive layoffs happen. Entire industries consolidate. Unexpected health issues arise. Burnout is a very real biological limit that you cannot outwork forever. When you build a lifestyle that requires $14,000 a month just to break even, you remove all margin of error from your life. A 6-month period of unemployment does not just mean dipping into savings. It means total structural collapse. To see how this plays out in reality, look at 2 couples living in the exact same city. Matthew and Sarah live in Denver. They make $280,000 a year combined. Matthew is a senior software engineer. Sarah is a marketing director. They live in a beautiful $950,000 home in a trendy neighborhood. They drive 2 leased luxury SUVs costing $1,500 a month. They spend $3,000 a month on dining out, premium convenience services, and entertainment. After federal and state taxes, their 401k contributions, their massive mortgage, and their fixed costs, they save almost nothing in liquid accounts. They look rich. They feel broke. David and Christine also live in Denver. They make the exact same combined income of $280,000, but they made fundamentally different choices. They bought a $520,000 home in a quiet, older suburb. They drive 2 6-year-old Toyotas they bought with cash. Their fixed costs are drastically lower than their peers. Because their overhead is kept deliberately low, they easily max out their 401k plans. They fully fund backdoor Roth IRAs, and they push $4,500 a month into a taxable brokerage account. At age 45, Matthew and Sarah have a massive amount of trapped home equity they cannot eat, a lifestyle they desperately have to maintain, and severe financial anxiety. David and Christine have a $1.8 million liquid net worth. They work because they want to, not because they have to. The income was identical. The retention was the only variable. Earning a high income is an incredible tool. It is the greatest lever you have for building wealth quickly in America. But a tool can either build a sturdy house or tear it down. The mistake most people make is confusing the appearance of wealth with the reality of freedom. They happily trade their most productive earning years for heavily depreciating assets and permanent financial obligations. They upgrade their life until their life owns them. True wealth is invisible. It is the money you do not spend. It is the premium car you did not buy. It is the luxury vacation you skipped so you could buy more S&P 500 index funds. It is the quiet confidence of knowing you could walk away from your job tomorrow and be perfectly fine. You have to ask yourself what you are actually working for. Are you working 50 hours a week just to maintain a fragile, expensive illusion of status? Or are you working to permanently buy back your own time? The math isn't complicated. The behavior is. You can have the luxury cars, the massive mortgage, and the constant underlying stress. Or you can build a permanent fortress around your financial life. Stop spending money to prove you make money. True wealth is the ability to wake up in the morning and do whatever you want. Anything less is just a very expensive prison.